This answer looks right, but it won't pass an exam. And this exact mistake costs students easy marks every single year. Today, I will show you the tempting shortcut students take, why examiners reject it, and the correct exam approved method that always works. Let's slow this down and really understand it. This is what many students do. They subtract the tops by saying 5 minus 1 gives 4 and 6 minus 4 gives 2, and they get their answer as 4. And honestly, this looks logical, but in an exam, this earns 0 marks. Here is the real problem. Fractions are not just numbers, they represent parts of a whole. Sixths and quarters are not the same size, so you cannot add or subtract them directly. If I remove 1/4 of a pizza from 5/6 of a different pizza, I can't just subtract randomly. The pieces must match first. So, how do we solve this? The first thing we need to do is that we must make the bottom look the same. You can only add or subtract fractions when the denominators are the same. So to solve this, we must make sure the denominators are the same. So the first step, let's solve this together. Let's look at the denominators. We have 6 and 4 as the denominators. Then we find the LCM of 6 and 4. So what is the LCM of 6 and 4? That is the lowest common multiples, the lowest common multiple of 6 and 4. That is the smallest number that 6 will divide without remainder, and 4 will also divide it without remainder. If we multiply 6 by 4, we will get 24. 24 is a multiple of 6 and 4, but it is not the lowest multiple. So let's think of the lowest number that 6 and 4 will divide. 6 will not go in 8. Let's first list the multiples of 4. The multiples of 4 are 8, 12, then 16, 24, and so on. Then let's now look, okay, these are the multiples of 4. Let's write them very clear. We have 8, 12, 16, 24, and so on. These are the multiples of 4. Can 6 go in them? Which is the smallest one that 6 will go in without remainder? 6 will not go in 8 without remainder, but 6 will go in 12 without remainder. So that means 12 is the smallest multiple, of both 6 and 4. 6 will go in 4 2 times without remainder, and 6 will go in 12 2 times without remainder. 4 will also go in 12 without remainder. So since we've identified 12 as the lowest multiple of both 6 and 4, so we now say how many times will 6 go in that multiple? We've identified it as 12. How many times will 6 go in that multiple? 6 will go in 12 2 times. So we multiply this by 2 so that we have 2 times 5 gives 10, right? So this becomes 10 over 12. Then minus, how many times will 4 go in 12? 4 will go in 12 3 times. So we multiply this by 3 so that we have 3 times 1 is 3 over 4 times 3 is 12. Now that they have the same denominator, we can subtract. So here now we have 10 minus 3, and this gives 7 over 12. So this is 7/12. This is the only time you can subtract. If they have different denominator, you must first look for their LCM and then change the fraction, convert the fraction such that they will have the same LCM, and then you can subtract. Now, let's take a look at this example where we have mixed fractions. How do we subtract when we have mixed fractions? So what we have to do is that we will subtract the whole. We will first subtract the wholes. We will deal with the whole together, and we'll deal with the fractions together. So that means we will say 5 minus 2, and then we will say 1 third minus 5 sixths. So 5 minus 2 gives 3. So we have 3 whole number. Then we have 1 third minus 5 sixths. So let's subtract 1 third. Let's say 1 third minus 5 sixths. So let's look at the multiples, the lowest common multiple of 3 and 6. Let's list out the multiples of 3. The multiples of 3 are 6, 9, 12, and so on. So this is even easy because 6, that is the second denominator, the denominator of the second fraction, is a multiple of 3. So that means the lowest multiple of 3 and 6 is 6. So how many times will 3 go in 6? It goes 2 times. So we multiply this fraction by 2 so that we have 2 sixth minus 6 will go in 6 1, so we just multiply this by 1, so we have 5 sixths left. So now let's subtract. 2 minus 5 gives negative 3, so this will be negative 3 over 6. And now that we have negative 3, since this is smaller than what we have here, we need to borrow one from this whole. We need to borrow one from this whole. So now what we have now is 3 whole and then negative 3 sixths. We cannot leave our answer like this. So instead of this, we now have to borrow one from this 3. When we borrow one from this 3, because we are working in 6 is our denominator. So when we borrow one from this becomes 2. This remains 2. And that one that we borrow, because we are working in denominator 6, that one now becomes 6 over 6. So now we now have 2 whole. That means we have 2 whole. Let me write it very well. We have 2 whole. Then we now have 6 over 6, which is the one we borrow from this. Then minus 3 over 6. So 6 minus 3 gives 3. So that means the answer will be 2 whole, then 3 sixths. Now that we have 2 whole, 3 sixths, you see that there is something common to this. So we can simplify further, and then we have 2 whole, 3 will go in 6 1. So this will give 2 whole and half. So this is the final answer, 2 whole and half. So if, assuming we did not get negative here, our answer would have ended, we would have ended the solution here. But since we got a negative, since this first fraction, first numerator is less than the second one, then we need to borrow one from the whole. And once you borrow one from the whole, the denominator determines what it will turn to. Assuming the denominator is 5, then the one you borrow will become 5 fifths. If the denominator is 4, the one you borrow will become 4 fourths. And then you can subtract and get your answer. So now you try this. 2 1/4 minus 3 fifths and 5 1/6 minus 3 3/4. Try this, and if you can also go back to watch this again for a better understanding. Students don't fail fraction because they are weak. They fail because they memorize shortcuts instead of understanding. Exams reward process, not guesswork. If your steps are correct, even partial understanding earns marks.